Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And so I guess We've looked at the
We
bills.
have no, let me back up just a
Yeah.
sec, because technology.
Ah.
We have no one taking the minutes tonight. Would you tell me first and second, and then it was a unanimous vote, I think.
Yeah. Just-
I moved.
Nancy,
Sarah seconded.
okay,
And it
And
was
Sarah.
unanimous.
and unanimous, thank you very much.
Unanimous, yeah. And, okay,
Great.
so we'll go right to there. So,
Don't we want to approve the payment of bills?
isn't that included in approving the consent?
Depends on if you did consent agenda
She just meant
or
motion the
agenda.
Okay, right. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Second. Oh,
And the third, great. Covered. Right. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Let's pay those bills. Great. Thank you. And now we can talk about this.
Oh, no,
No?
Now it's the
libraries.
library director's
There's-
report.
Oh,
And then
I was putting
then we
it-
do old business.
I want to put it right there, but okay.
I don't know, you're the boss, so we'll go wherever you want to go.
Clearly, I'm in charge. Right, what he said, we're gonna put it after the report.
Super.
Yeah.
So I have a few items for us tonight. The first is that I received information from Kim Van Beck. I don't know if you know this. Kim Dunsmore is married and is now Van Beck.
Oh.
And she let us know that the insurance rates for the new year decreased about 4% for singles and 2.4% for families. Open enrollment ends November 15th, so it would be after that date that we would hear anything from them about how it would affect our budget.
That's awesome.
Health insurance. Okay.
Right. Library Friends of Cook County provided us a grant award in the amount of $4,400 for 2025's winter reading program and our 4 holiday celebrations, which are Juneteenth, Pride, Indigenous Peoples Day, and Earth Day.
Wonderful.
They
That's so
also provided us a commitment to sponsor our summer reading program, which is $2,500 in general. And so that is accounting for 57% of the budget that we're intending to spend for next year.
Wonderful.
Wow, great.
Superior Cleaning came in and finished cleaning the library upholstery. These chairs with the light green seats, they kind of came out worse for wear, and we might look at getting those reupholstered, but or replaced. But the rest of them did really well, including some of our furniture that had cleaning scrub in it and made white swirls on the fabric. Those did seem to come clean, so that was exciting.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Just one brief comment about the rolling chairs with seats that could be reupholstered.
Yep.
I just, and this may be obvious, but I'd like to say it. I just like to make sure that the chairs, if they get reupholstered, are worth reupholstering.
Mhm.
No, I was thinking the same.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out.
Pardon?
We'll find out.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know sometimes maybe it's just my particular, shall we say, family and spousal situation. I have someone in my life who always wants to save everything and redo everything, and it's wonderful, except that sometimes it isn't worth it.
Yes, exactly.
So we'll put the board members in those questionable chairs at the top of the hill, pushing down. If they make it.
Right. So that's why I bring it up.
And they could go somewhere,
Mhm.
but we're not there.
I also want to invite the board to watch the archived city council meeting from October 9th. There was a very thorough discussion by Ravina Claxton, who is a consultant working with the city administrator to review HR policies and practices. And in that discussion is information about how department heads, such as myself, are intended to be reviewed and provided raises in the future. So if you have an interest in that, and I bring it up especially because I am in a unique situation as the library director in that the board is responsible for hiring and retaining a quality director, a competent director, and has a policy in place to review that director on an annual basis. And then we had really good discussion a couple of years back about whether the board wanted to continue that practice or leave it to the city, which also has a review process in place. So if you would like to hear anything about what they're working on right now and working to implement for the city, that would apply to me. That would be a good place to start.
At the time you had that discussion, of course, I wasn't on the board. Did that discussion, did you come to some conclusion? Or is it still kind of in flux?
Yeah. I don't remember where we got.
So we invested I think 2 meetings.
Yeah.
Looking, so in the board's set of policies, there are 2 review forms for the director.
Mhm.
And it confused a prior board. And so I brought it forward and explained this part of the policy, this document was created by trustees to review the director. And also you have a copy of the form that the city uses for all of its personnel.
Mhm.
And we started looking at those with the intention of getting rid of anything confusing and also making sure that the review tool was useful in the way that we wanted it to be. And it just opened up quite the discussion about how the 2 review processes would work together and whether they were both needed. And we were trying to figure out how best to score the director, and there were differing opinions on the value of the review tool, especially with the scoring rubric attached to it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
ultimately, the board decided to allow the administrator to perform the review, and that the board would like to provide regular feedback to the director should any be needed to be delivered.
Mhm.
And so I'm just bringing it up that the city is investing in a new review process that they've practiced for a year, and then we're about to start year 2.
Yeah, it has been pretty thorough. I think she's doing a great job so far. From everything we can see on the outside of it, it seems like it. And the feedback we've had from other managers, we've had some response.
Okay. And that's the October 9th?
October 9th, yep.
I play me.
Super.
And now do we get to talk the news?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so we want to do air source heat pumps next. Pass this around quickly. There you are. At the meeting at which we approved the purchase of the air source heat pumps, we realized that we had last asked for quotes in 2022, and I wasn't clear whether the board wanted a refreshed look at what's available, or if you were committed to the company that did our installation. So Shane Steele, my colleague who is the sustainability coordinator for the city, went ahead and pursued a total of, 3 installers, and only Twin Ports Custom Climate responded, and that's the company that we went with and loved already.
Mhm.
So I would appreciate it if you would be willing to accept the Twin Ports quote, and also I hope it's satisfying to see what they're going to charge.
Do we have the original quote? Do you have that number from the original quote?
I don't have it in front of me,
2022.
but this is on par.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure it was
thought-
in the $19,000 range.
Yeah, I thought it was somewhere in the
Yeah.
$30,000 plus range.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the expenditure.
And I would second it.
Thanks. All in favor? Do we do that?
Aye.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion by Mike and second by Nancy to approve the quote. Okay, thanks. Thinking, talking, doing the thing,
Yeah.
the secretarial. It's okay.
It's all right.
Super, thanks. Then I will go ahead and give them a call and we'll get the timeline going with that. I wanted to bring up two topics tonight. One is the Tofty book drop and one is landscaping needs for the library. The library has a book return box inside of the Tofty Grand Marais State Bank. So this is very great that we are offering a remote way for people to come in, get materials while they're here and shopping, but not have the expectation of coming back to the library on time to get their books back here. We are seeing about 2 regular customers, one being a Cook County resident. And we also are in a position at this point where we've lost the volunteers who used to bring those books up for us. We no longer have staff living down there. I am now in Lutsen, but there's a timing issue. So this bank is only open from 9 until 4 and it closes at lunch for an hour. So I'm never down there at the time that they're open or very rarely am. So it's really hard to make the pickup. One significant change that has happened since that Dropbox was installed is that the library pursued fines-free library. So I am looking at closing the Tofty book drop service, and I'm just wanting to have a first conversation about that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can I ask, so when did we start?
I don't know. So
Okay,
that
so
means
it's long
it
enough
was
ago.
before 2015.
Well, okay.
And fines-free happened in 2019.
And there are 2 customers or 2 clients who use it, 2 borrowers mostly.
I'd like to verify that before I make any decisions, but that when we pulled it a few months back, that's what we were looking at.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're looking at a couple books a month, or a couple books a week.
Right. And maybe not there the day that I go. And our customers are pretty good about giving us a little call when they have things down there, but then still we have to be able to get there to get the time that the bank is open. So,
Well, my thought about that is if they can come up here and borrow them, excuse me, maybe when they're shopping or whatever, and they
Yeah.
don't have to worry about fines.
mhm.
They can also bring them along and drop them off when they come back to Johnson's or the
Wait, what?
co-op. What?
Except they live in Tofty and it's almost the same distance to Silver Bay, and you could return them to Silver Bay's library.
And one of our customers is from Lake County. One of the 2 people. is from
Okay.
Lake County. So just to be clear on that. So a few thoughts here. Our strategic plan calls for us to do some surveying of our community and finding out what the needs and interests are. I would like to include this in that. It's just that that has been slow going. I have access to the library patrons, and so I can send a preliminary letter, an open conversation and
Mhm.
dialogue about the options and the potential change to see how it would affect them. And I'd also like to speak with the bank manager and talk to them and see what value they see the box providing, make sure that that's still a mutual arrangement. So don't get excited, but I think this is a service that it might be time to retire, and I am thinking about it.
Thinking, Kevin just brought up an interesting point about returning books to Silver Bay. does it work in among the Arrowhead libraries that you can return a book to any library?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay,
I
so,
normally, if I don't return them here, I return them to Grand Rapids.
yeah, well, that's
When I'm
great.
visiting my grand,
Yeah,
it's a bigger library. It's a nice library.
well,
We do.
you know,
I
and
love
it's great because we, again, kind of got used to that in the cities. You could return anything to any metro library. Even, let's say, if you took something out in St. Paul, you could return it in in Roseville, because the Ramsey County Library is not part of St. Paul, but so it's a whole different system, but it's part of the metro system. So, yeah, so that's a thought.
And Arrowhead Library System allows that if any patrons in our region were to, for example, come up here, register their library card, use our services, and go home to the Twin Cities or to Selco or to, southeastern Minnesota,
Mhm.
they can return those books at their library, and they will get couriered back to our library. And sometimes that takes longer than the renewal period,
Yes.
but also we don't charge fines.
Exactly.
We don't charge fines. So that is the service.
So,
that we
yeah,
do.
I think it's a time to retire the service
Mhm.
because
And
there are alternatives. People
Yeah.
won't be stuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from digital book collections, as well as mail a book for county residents, and then as well as we don't charge fines. So I think
Yeah.
it's just an education opportunity.
I think it probably was just one of those things like, hey, this is something we can do easy enough
Yeah.
back in the day, but since we're not charging fines, it's not
I wonder-
a mad rush to get it back.
How many people in Tofty know about this service?
And let's not tell them anymore.
Well,
If we
yeah, I
have
just think it's,
if we have that regular person,
yeah,
we could say, hey, next time you're coming, can you, I mean, if they come regularly, like once every 2 weeks, they could bring up the books for us.
yeah, sure.
Well, here's
If they want to volunteer for that,
yeah.
so, and then
Um,
just another little campaign of, and ask State Bank to promote it within their newsletter, website stuff, and hey, here's a community service we provide. I mean, I'm fine either way, but yeah, it's just
Other opportunities exist. We could do some polling and some surveying down there and discover that they'd really like library presence in the community. And if we were developing some sort of small makeshift delivery thing, like what am I trying to say here? The bookmobile, or if we were providing story times down there once a month or something, and we had created a pickup scenario, it could just take a slightly different form.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think the box in the bank is just sort of a quaint remnant of the past.
Yeah.
But I like your ideas. We don't have a bookmobile, do we, or do we?
We don't. Arrowhead Library System does have a bookmobile system, and it used to travel up here, but it just became prohibitive. The cost became prohibitive, and they don't do it anymore.
The other thing that occurs to me is that the county commissioner for the West End is in the Tofty Bank about once a week. And she also comes here.
Is that Ginny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She also comes here. So you might,
Just
if anything, find another courier, because she has to put money in that bank for the fishing museum.
There you go.
See how she gets all the letters and everything.
But it might be worth talking with her, and maybe she has some sense of what people would like in her area as far as library services go. So that it would be, how shall I say, sort of an excuse for that conversation.
Well, we did have a conversation a year ago, but we are so overdue.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and volunteerism is going to come up again in our next topic, which is landscaping. So we've been very fortunate to have regular landscapers working on the gardening out here in front of the library. Enno works on the rain gardens, which are across the sidewalk on the city side. And this is on the, right against the building to the library. And they are not able to continue with us anymore and weren't able to do a full, workup on the garden this year. So they have done a really great job of asking around to the people that they know whether anyone else is available to volunteer their time and haven't found anyone for us. I wondered if anyone here has ideas of people you could reach out to or that we could reach out to in terms of volunteering. I'm also meeting with a couple of businesses to try to get quotes to see what it would cost to have that maintained. So we've talked a couple of times, I believe, at the board level about installing an emergency exit. And so if that happened over here, some of this would be paved, but we still have all of the library.
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
think practically speaking, I know some of I'm married to one of the rain garden volunteers. And they are busy with that. So I don't think they will add anything to their garden agenda. There is a garden club here and everybody's rather elderly. And so I think that the lady who has been doing this, she's had some back issues and so on. And younger people, honestly, at least the ones that I know that they're in my family and their friends, they do not have the time to volunteer. They simply don't. They're busy working. They're busy with kids. Some of them have a couple of jobs. Some of them commute. So the idea of volunteerism is really nice. But I'm wondering if maybe I'm not so sure that it's going to be really practical and that there'll be a lot of follow through, you know.
Yes, we had a Girl Scout troop, but I don't know if they have those up here. Girl Scout, Boy Scout troop.
Oh, yeah, they do, but I don't know if they would do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just think, or church,
Yeah.
youth groups and that
I
it's
do
just,
think, to the point you're driving at, I do think it's worth our while to be to just
Yeah.
pay somebody to do it on a regular basis. We know they're going to do it. We know what it's going to cost. We can hold them accountable if it doesn't happen.
yeah,
Because I suspect they're probably, well, I shouldn't say, but that I do know some people out there who could take the job.
Maybe have a couple volunteer days at the beginning and the end where there's going to be a little more work to set it up and take it down, but then have the landscapers just do the regular maintenance of it.
mhm,
Yeah, get a book, read or plant a flower, read a book.
yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and it would be, well, I was taking a look at this garden today as I was walking around or the other day. And it's so overgrown. Honestly, it almost needs to be pulled out and started over again. I mean, I was a gardener. I still, well, not very much. I do pots now, but mostly. But, really taming this garden, you might say, boy, what a job that would be.
Yeah.
And
And
it's the water process, outside water process.
Oh, yeah. No, but I
Yes,
know,
it is.
we had an old house in St. Paul that came with an old garden. And,
Mhm.
After 25 years or so, we finally more or less had the yard in shape, the garden in shape. I think we want to do something that'll be a little quicker than 25 years.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, it'd be great to see,
Yeah.
reach out and see who's out there, how much it would cost.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Community service.
Okay.
Along with landscaping, just as a side note, not necessarily about this, I talked to Aaron. I'm sorry, his last name is the thing. Aaron, who is on the tree board.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I asked him for trees out there, like a nice shade tree, from where by the retaining wall where we used to have
Yeah, that would be
the
nice.
large evergreen that
Mhm.
came down.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm asking them to pull out the root ball and give us something new.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that survey. And it's not quite done yet, but it'll be fun to see, like, what do we have? It's already there. Should we can put it-
You might want to see if you can talk to the gardeners too, because anytime you put in a tree, it does sort of change the shape of the garden. And I don't know if they have, since there was no tree, they've done some planting, so they'll have more sun tolerant plants now. If you put in a tree, that will change that. And it doesn't mean it's bad or wrong, just that it will change things. And so it'd be nice to coordinate, so often people
Yeah.
don't talk to each other and then they, get mad.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, anything else from anyone?
Oh, I have a question, which is I can't remember, what did we decide about winter films? I ran into somebody on the way over who asked me if we were going to have winter films at the library, and I had to say, geez, I'm not sure.
Yeah, sensitive issue. The group that loves the Friday Night Reels is very disappointed to have heard that I decided not to run the shows this year.
Okay,
I need to focus on the safety response work and also learn how to inventory the collection. And
point.
the film committee generally starts in May, and that work did not get done.
Okay.
And so by September, October, we had to make a decision about whether the committee would be able to function. We'd like to make some changes to the programming and how it's being run. And so that takes a lot of conversation with the committee as well. And there wasn't enough time.
That's fine. I told the
Yeah.
fellow that he can go see Beetlejuice
There
tomorrow
you
night.
go.
Oh, exciting.
Mhm.
But I am hoping to do maybe a couple of pop-ups. I have some ideas for doing a couple of movie nights here or there in the wintertime once I have a sense of what the inventory is going to do. But I just can't run the whole program.
No, and that makes sense,
Yeah.
Amanda. Would it be worth, at least as a thought for the future, talking to the folks who are organizing the Grand Marais Film Society
Mhm.
and maybe doing some coordination or some mutual promotion or
Sure.
something?
Mhm.
Makes sense.
Don't worry, you don't have to do it now. Just put it in the back of your head and leave it there until.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
I feel like we had plans to do that. I just don't know where it landed, so I can follow
A
up.
lot has been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't mention inventory.
Mhm.
Just as a happenstance, I spent 4 years, part of 4 years, inventorying large collections at the University of Minnesota. So I have some experience in inventorying libraries.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So if you,
Oh,
So
that's
you're
wonderful.
volunteering then?
I can help, or I could, whatever.
Yeah.
Super. Thanks, Kevin.
Mhm. That's great. Right.
Of course, those were the days when you had a catalog, that you had.
I know.
That's not the way we did it.
We have
I-
iPads and scanners
Oh, yeah.
and little carts.
Yeah.
It's the same process, it's just different techniques or different hardware.
Different
Right.
hardware.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice. All right. Well, folks, I would say we are adjourned. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Oh, do we need a move to adjourn?
No.
No, okay. I always forget that.
There's a variation.
Several